Fire them up. Yep, you are tuned into the Andrew Gosser Show right here on 1039 WYAB. And we are streaming on Rumble. And we are streaming on X. And we are streaming on YouTube. And we are streaming at the mothership that is WYAB.com. So if you can't pick up the 50,000 watt blowtorch of a signal that is 1039, go ahead and like, share, and subscribe to the stream if you wouldn't mind. Go ahead, give me a follow on X at Andrew Gosser, AndrewGasser. Would appreciate that. Look, if you want to be part of the program today, I welcome it. Number is 601-879-0002. Text line is open. And Texter, I did get your text from the last hour. I'll try to get to it here quickly. That text number is 601-879-5060. And the mission here at the Andrew Gosser Show is standard. We are here to equip the saints. Who are the saints? Y'all are the saints. It's Holy Week. It's the most important week of the year for as far as I'm concerned. And it stays on my heart for a while, and I sit there and I ruminate about it. You know, sheep, they sit there and they eat grass, and they'll sit there and just chew their cud, and they'll ruminate, and they'll get there. And sometimes you just gotta sit there and soak in something and let it see what it really means to you. And this is what's really sitting in me. In your hearts, honor Christ the Lord as holy, always being prepared to make a defense to anyone who asks for a reason for the hope that is in you, yet do it with gentleness and respect. What we saw over the weekend with these protests was nothing gentle. There was nothing respectful. It's all fired up, amped up on feelings, emotion. And emotion is a good thing, ladies and gentlemen. It really is. God gave us emotion, gave the humans the ability to have emotions. Animals have emotions too. We know when our puppies are sad or when they're happy. We know what's going on. But to sit there and make informed decisions strictly based on emotion, not so much. Not so much. This weekend was really good. Got to spend a lot of time out on the farm. Have you ever heard of the Hot Ones Challenge? First We Feast with Sean Evans, Crystal Lake Central product. If you know, you know. Best thing to come out of Crystal Lake Central, if you ask me. But we got together with a couple of friends, and we did the Hot Ones Challenge, and it was so fun. I'm glad I did it. I never want to necessarily do it again. There were some hot sauces that were really good, and they were fiery, and it was good, but the flavor was good. But then there were a couple that just tasted like you were licking asphalt off the street, and it was hot, and it was there to cause misery. It wasn't necessarily there to provide any flavor. But the coolest quote from the whole weekend came from my daughter, Toots McCracken, when she said, "Dad, that's really cool. You guys just get together with a bunch of friends, put on 80s music, drink cocktails, eat wings, and play games." And we did. We played Tic Tac Boom and Uno cards with that are the size of, like 4 times the size of a normal playing deck. And, it's just what Gen Xers do. It was a great time. The last sauce was the last dab, Thermogeddon. And, of course, if you've watched the show, you know about the bomb. That was just tasted awful, ladies and gentlemen. I mean, if you want to experience pain and misery, then by all means go for it. But not fun, not fun. But it was great to hang out with brother Mike, brother Shane, sister Carlin, and the beautiful Sweet Bee. Miss you, Miss Diana. It's our little friend group. We get together and hang out, and it's nice to have friends and grow old with friends. It's definitely the way to go. It's sitting here and doing all this online silliness, and there is so much online silliness to get to. But the one that I wanted to talk about the most was I'm part of this Facebook group, and I do try to get issues that impact us here locally. But I'm also more of a national kind of guy. It's just how God made me. And I'm part of this group called the Hinds County Stump. And there's this big hot raging debate going on, and I know that it affects all of us, and we all have opinions on it. So I'm kind of curious to see what your opinion is on this. But if you're trying to convince me to come to your side of the aisle, might I add, This is not how I'm going to do this, but I wanted to go ahead and here you go. I know this is going to be called, quote, hating Trump instead of exposing Trump, but can anyone make sense? How can anyone with good conscience and sense continue to allow a guy wrong is wrong, and one who seems to follow him just can't simply say, "Yeah, that's not right. Rules for me are for thee, but not for me." Shake my head. And it's got a article here linked to ABC News, basically showing that President Trump voted by mail. And as you know, we're trying to get rid of vote by mail as it exists right now, especially in places like California, Oregon, Washington State, where you're just automatically mail in vote whether you ask for it or not. And Miss Andrea here, she is just fit to be tied over mail-in voting. Now, if you remember, John from last week called in and said, "Hey, is it gonna get rid of the mail-in voting for veterans?" No, no, it's not. And believe it or not, it's not gonna rid of mail-in voting for people who have legitimate reasons to mail in vote. You're on a business trip overseas and you're not gonna be in the state on election day. Guess what? You can mail in vote, or you have the option to absentee vote, go to the clerk, which is what I personally like. I as someone who's fought in wars in overseas and served their country, I want people to make the effort to go and vote. It's not supposed to be make it easy as you can. I'm supposed to make it as fair as I possibly can. And I realize that there are some people, that they're in nursing homes. They can't get to the poll. You know what? They can mail and vote, and they can be carefully tracked. But just anonymously mailing out 500,000 voters, and we gotta wait to see how long it takes to get back. We all saw what happened in 2020. Trump we all went to bed, Trump was ahead. They started counting the next day. "Oh, we need to get this many votes here, this many votes there." Boom. And, so Miss Naomi, she goes, "So what? If it's legal, then it's fine, but after seeing what has been done in Atlanta, and we all know what happened in Fulton County, Georgia, you know, they're getting ready to go to jail." It's not even these people can't even say there's no proof, there's no proof. We've seen the proof. They've put the proof online, and they're trying to squash it because it's so bad. As long as the person you like does what wrong, then it's okay, it's excusable, but if someone else or wait, this is Andrea saying, uh, I apologize, let me start over here. Miss Naomi goes, "So what? If it's legal, then it's fine." But seeing what's done in Atlanta, where gaps of time were illegally privatized by certain individuals and the numbers of ballots that were manipulated towards a protected candidate, well, that has to be stopped. And it does. And so what I'm getting at here is this is where we get into this headline narrative, getting rid of illegal or getting rid of mail-in balloting. We are getting rid of mail-in balloting like was done in Fulton County, Georgia. And you can thank the Mississippi and Hinds County GOP for getting it stopped nationwide after the Supreme Court comes back and rules on this. Although I could see the Supreme Court actually ruling the other way, saying states are individually responsible for their elections and how they do that. That could come back. But there's also a 14th Amendment side there. Um, I get it. Rules for thee, but not for me. Basically, as long as the person you like does not wrong does it wrong, then it's okay, it's excusable. But if someone else, particularly a group of person that doesn't like it the way they do it, then they should have consequences. You wanna know what? It's not like the Republicans are going out there in red counties and stockpiling votes. We were looking we've compared this on the Andrew Gosser show months ago. The states that Kamala won had very liberal, no control mail-in balloting. There's videos of it from Ohio, which is more of a red state, in certain towns where you have ladies going up to the drop off mail-in ballots and just stuffing it full of ballots. There's video of that. We can't stop that. And then people start calling each other ignorant. And my whole thing on this is that the president of the United States is a resident of Palm Beach, Florida. He lives at Mar-a-Lago. That's his home address. He's got a residence there. And on election day, he was not in the state of Florida. He was legally out of town in a different state, executing his jobs as the president of the United States of America, the chief executive officer. Did he have a legal reason to try to mail and vote? The sources would say yes. Just like a CEO of a private company, if they had to go ahead and get out of the country on a trip on election day, they would have a reason to mail and vote. And so I see local arguments like this, like Miss Andrea Baldwin, God bless her for doing that, and I do get her point, but it's not even debatable. We have to go ahead and put controls on who can vote in this country and who can't. It's not even debatable anymore that we've been invaded, and it's been a successful invasion, by the way. You have to call the invasion of the United States successful. There are somewhere between 10 and 14 million illegal aliens here, many of them who are drawing benefits, taking away resources from people who actually need those resources, who are born here. Some of whom who their families were brought here without their consent. You know, that's where the Social Security is supposed to be going. That's where the Medicare and Medicaid is supposed to be going. We've got all these illegal aliens getting funded through all these different major programs like Social Security, Medicare, Medicaid, but also through these NGO programs, setting up these hospice cares, setting up these daycares, autism. It's all been documented. What really irritates me, Miss Andrea, is how people don't wanna stop the stuff that's actually wrong because they know that the stuff that's wrong is actually supporting their side. Kinda using your argument against you a little bit. That's what, really baffles me. I like the whole 2004 Iraqi elections. I remember the cover on Time magazine like it was yesterday. It was an Iraqi woman in a burqa dipping her finger into the blue ink to signify she voted. She was so proud she voted. She was so excited that she got to vote, no longer under Saddam. What a great day of freedom for the Iraqi people. Were there mistakes that were made with that? Absolutely, and we will continue to make mistakes with that, but that's a whole 'nother discussion on war, and I'm not sure, civilization like our own is really able to comprehend the the pain of war, the loss, the sacrifice. You know, we're spoiled when it comes to our elections. We just go turn on CNN or ABC or your Fox News, your coverage of choice. Got somebody checking in, nursing home, mentally incompetent people should not vote. I agree with that, but there are people who can't walk, who need to be helped, who are all there mentally, and they should be able to vote. You know, one of the things that we did actually in Illinois was we had one of our polling places at a nursing home because it was the only nursing home in this district, and they were very active, and they appreciated it. But I would say this too, as an election judge, there are people who are all there mentally, but can't go ahead and necessarily go ahead and pick up a pencil to fill in the oval correctly. If they sit there and they say Biden and their spouse fills in Biden, do they get to vote? What if they can't speak? What if they sign for that they wanna vote for Trump? You know, there's I I wanna say that there's blanket statements for all this, but when I think about it and I'm being intellectually honest with you and with myself, I'm like, there has to be layers to this, there has to be specifications. So, when I hear get rid of illegal mail-in voting, I'm for it. I think that there can be changes that can be done to stop all the fraud that's happened, just like we saw in Gulfport, Mississippi just this year, or last year, excuse me. There are things that we can do, but when we have forums and with great power comes great responsibility. Social media, we've completely lost all inhibition to act civilly and responsibly. The person says, "Majority in many nursing homes, however, are mentally incompetent based upon what I have seen." Y wha I get that, but we have to go by the individual, not by what somebody has seen. And and again, you know what? This is a great point too. This is a great point too. How do we go ahead and validate the people who are in nursing homes? Are there people who've been in nursing homes that have been passed away for years on end, and the nursing home is somehow keeping them on the payroll, getting that Social Security check, not having to pay any services for it? I mean, there's a lot of fraud around here, so I'm not trying to be combative with you. I'm just saying we've gotta be really careful when we start restricting mail-in voting. I like one of the processes that we had to do before it got changed in Illinois is you had to request in writing a mail-in ballot with the reason that you're doing it, and you had to mail it in. You couldn't just drop it off at the clerk because if you could drop it off at the clerk, you could spend the 3 minutes to go ahead and vote. I think that there are changes that can be done and implemented that tighten up our voter rolls, not just around the United States, but specifically here in Mississippi, that we can tighten up our election rules so that only Americans are voting in our elections. Only people from Mississippi are voting in our elections. You would be surprised. We looked on the voter roll, and I found people from Tennessee. I still got it on my computer. Maybe that'll be a segment one day. And I'm not hating on the Secretary of State or anything. It's just it's work, and it takes a lot more than just 5 or 6 IT guys at the Secretary of State's office to do it. It takes the county chairman of both parties actively scrubbing rolls. It takes the work of precinct delegates going in there, and it takes like-minded individuals who genuinely love their state of Mississippi to make sure that only the people who are supposed to vote are voting. But that's just my opinion. You are tuned into the Andrew Gosser Show on 103.9 WYAB. We'll be right back. Yeah, welcome back to the Andrew Gossel Show on 1039 WYAB, number 601-879-0002. Text line is open 601-879-5060. More chats coming in about nursing home voting. And I didn't realize nursing home voting was going to take off like this. I thought it would be more of a mail-in voting, but it does bring up a important argument, and we should talk about it. If a chancery court has declared a mental incompetence, that data needs to be sent out to the circuit clerk's office. And it also needs to go to the Secretary of State's office. But in Mississippi, what I found out is it's the election commissioner's responsibility to remove that person from the voter roll. They're ultimately the ones who can pull someone off the voter roll. Secretary of State, Michael Watson, can't do it. It's actually, and people, especially on the conservative side of the aisle, don't realize that. It took me a while to learn that, but my election commissioner here in Hinds County sat me down. We had 2 meetings together. Really nice lady. I know that we don't agree on a lot politically, but she did explain the process and was very professional, and I appreciate that. But you are exactly right. What happens to these people who are found ineligible to vote for whatever reason, whether it be mental incompetence, illegal alien, felon, whatever the case may be? How do we get these people off the voter rolls? Even SSDI, mental disability, can pass that data on. Well, you can pass that data on, but at what point are we violating HIPAA in passing on medical conditions to people who are not necessarily doctors or need to know? I'm not saying that it shouldn't happen. I'm just saying, do you see where people are gonna start throwing these things up against us trying to scrub the voter rolls as someone who's tried to do it legally for a long time? A and in your last point here, then we're gonna change up a little bit, but it says, "And then many may be, quote, unquote, helping those with mental disabilities mirroring their own vote. How do we know whether or not?" Well, now you're asking to prove a double negative, and we can't. Those of us with common sense can clearly say, that someone helping another person vote, "Oh, you wanna vote for Trump?" And then they fill in Biden and hand it in, and away they go. You can't say it doesn't happen. Just like you can't say that, "Hey, I wanna vote for Biden," and someone fills in for Trump. The chance of something like that happening is high. The system isn't perfect, but I'm saying letting 10 to 14 million illegal aliens vote, especially in blue states with incredibly high electoral college vote numbers, that's a problem. And for me personally, as someone who follows a lot of these local political, social media sites, I enjoy it. I get a chuckle out of it. I don't really speak too often in there. I more just glean it for content farming, if you will. Sitting there looking at some of how people get so emotionally tied up in this, and then someone also is asking, uh, "What about using AI?" Well, funny you should say that. Funny you should say that. Tennessee grandma jailed for 5 months after AI flagged her for bank fraud in North Dakota, a state she never visited. This is coming from the New York Post. So, in I've got so much to say on AI. Clay, I love you, brother, but when you sent me that podcast on AI, man, that just blew my mind. Because I know that AI can be used for good or it can be used for bad, and AI makes mistakes. There was just a movie that came out on that. The guy had to prove he was innocent in 90 minutes using AI. A Tennessee grandmother was jailed for a whopping 5 months after a facial recognition program erroneously flagged her for bank fraud in a state she's never visited. Angela Lips, 50, was first arrested at her rental home in Tennessee in July. Lips was extradited to Fargo, North Dakota, more than 1,000 miles away from her phone at the end of October, according to a GoFundMe campaign. So here you've got AI facial technology, and trust me, they've got it to where they can sit there and look at your eye and they can identify you. You can have the rest of your face completely covered up. The eye, they've got enough technology embedded in AI to where they can go ahead and identify, hey, this is where you are. The West Fargo Police Department used facial recognition technology that flagged Lips as a potential suspect in a case. And off she went. She ended up spending almost 5 months in jail. Scroll down a little bit here. He admitted at a press conference on Tuesday that West Fargo police system was part of the issue in Lips' wrongful arrest. Do not tell me that AI is the end all be all save all. AI can do a lot of great stuff, autonomous driving. You're going to see it completely take over manufacturing within 10 years. Our manufacturing plants will not look the way they are. And people say, Andy, you don't know what you're talking about. You're crazy. March 30th, 2026. You heard it here first. The robots that are coming, whether they're Boston Dynamics, whether they're Tesla's Optimus robot, I just learned so much about AI technology and how it's evolving daily. It's going to be huge. We got a phone call. Let's go ahead and take it. Let's see what happens here. Go ahead, caller. You're on the air.
I'm going to throw you a little bit of a curve here. You're talking about AI.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to go a little different direction. And I'm going to put a huge caution out to pastors.
Yes.
If you are using AI to prepare your sermon, shame on you. Stop it. AI is a tool to be used as a utility, and it's an easy trap to fall into. And if you're going to use AI for prep, you're missing out on the guidance of the Holy Spirit, and you're allowing AI to take the lead. Shame on you.
I hear that. And you know what? Pastors have talked about it. You know, they'll be sitting there looking something up and they can't remember it, and they'll just go in. So let me ask you this question, because I heard this from a pastor. What's the difference between Googling a verse and AIing a verse?
I'm old school. I've still got all the concordances and all the old school books. And I believe that pouring over that, there is so much that you will gain, but there is so much you're going to lose by allowing technology and AI to do it quicker and faster. You don't have that revelatory knowledge. The Holy Spirit's not moving on you the same way. It's not going to have an impact and change your life. It's just going to be put into a digestible format for those that are being delivered the message to. And I'm sorry, that's just not the way that's intended to be.
I struggle with this because it's making pastors who normally would spend 10 or 12 hours preparing a sermon now being able to prepare a sermon in 45, 50 minutes. Are they spending that time with the Lord? And it's relevant, being that it's Holy Week, Bruce. It's a relevant discussion to talk about using AI in sermons, using AI in teaching. I've got to take a break. Can you hold on through the break?
Sure.
All right, we're going to take a quick break here on the Andrew Gosser Show. We'll be right back. Bruce, you there?
Yeah, man.
Dude, that's really good, because we were talking about this. And, you know, AI can put together sermons so well that all of a sudden you're like, is this AI or is this Holy Spirit? Because
the problem with AI putting a sermon together is it assembles it quickly. And once again, and we've kicked the tires on this on many different angles. You have to use AI as a tool. You cannot allow it to be a companion. It's too easy to fall into the trap of, wow, this was easy. This really saved me a lot of time. I'm going to do this again next week.
Okay,
you get lazy, and you're not allowing the Holy Spirit to put revelation on you that is life-changing and life-needed for the flock.
Yep, let's save it for the radio, brother.
Okay.
All right, be right back.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. Welcome back to the Andrew Gosser Show on 103.9 WYAB. Bruce, are you still there, my man?
Oh, yeah, I'm here.
Yep. We were talking in the break, and we were talking about what's the difference between using Google and AI, and you had a really good statement, and I'm going to give you the floor. Go ahead with it.
Well, you'd make mention that, okay, so you got pastors out there utilizing Google and AI and cutting down on their time. Well, okay, while I appreciate that maybe that is a convenience, I'm going to say that this cuts the Holy Spirit out, and it potentially just strips the rhema right out of the potential sermon going to the listener that needs to hear the prep time that you put in. And so if you're allowing AI to literally preach to your congregation, you might need to step aside because you're not fulfilling your purpose. You're allowing AI to do that through you. That's not a good idea.
So you're saying every preacher out there, and I'm not saying one way or the other. I'm just putting out there AI should be completely removed from the pulpit as far as research, prep, and sermon prepping.
I'm going to take a hard line, and I'm going to say yes, because that's a very slippery slope.
There you go. And I see your comment in the chat, pastors, AI should not be teaching your flock. And I agree with that. But I'm going to kind of pivot this into another AI topic, if that's all right, Brother Bruce. You got anything else?
Okay. Well, I mean, you know, I'm going to back up a little bit and take a 30,000 foot view of things. So we were told when the World Wide Web came on the scene, it would be life-changing and it would give us knowledge. Guess what? When the devil showed up in the Garden of Eden, what was he all about? He was all about giving us some knowledge and questioning authority. I think that's what ultimately the internet and the World Wide Web has done. It seems like everything gets put out there with good intentions, but it doesn't take long for man to pervert it.
Yep.
I think AI is going to be another one of those. It just piggybacks on top of the mass tidal wave of information that we get that's used the wrong way. Wikipedia was a great idea when it first came out. Who's in charge of it? It's disinformation and lies for the most part.
Yep.
So here we go again.
Brother Bruce, you're speaking wisdom, man. I appreciate it. That was Brother Bruce over there. And Bruce, it was great seeing you on Friday. I can't wait to see you again this week. Looking forward to talking about some awesome new glasses I'm getting. I'm very grateful for you. And I look forward to having you back on sponsoring the show too, man. It's going to be great. That was Bruce from iGear Optical. I'll give him a shout out. The other thing about AI, and Bruce brought it up, is how do we use AI to teach? Because I'm a firm believer in using better teaching methods at all the time. And for mathematics, for what worked for me was not going to class, but actually going to Khan Academy. You could literally go from 1 + 1 to trigonometry in 8 months if you wanted to, if that's what you decided, without all the biases of the other world issues. AI has got an incredible technology, and I equivalent it to ducks in a pond. Have you ever get baby ducklings and you put them in a pool? What happens when they get in the pool? The water's really clean and nice for about 30 seconds, and then it gets muddied up really quick. That's what happened to the World Wide Web when they promised us infinite wisdom and technology and information. The world is at your fingertips. You just got to type in what you want. I was watching some internet surfing videos, believe it or not, from 2000 or 2001, before 9/11. And how the web looked then compared to how it looks now is staggering. But you could go find the information that you wanted. It was great. You know, cable internet just started happening. It was incredibly slow by today's standard, but it was lightning fast back in 2000. Let me tell you, compared to the old 2600 baud modem, you've got mail. AOL nonsense that we all dialed up with. It's the world is changing, and it's happening again, and it's going quicker and quicker. And those who understand where AI is taking us and are preparing for it, that's a great thing. But if you think that AI is just going to be this great big thing to come over and just make everything better, you're incredibly mistaken. I didn't even get a chance to really talk about it this segment, but what's going to happen to a lot of, they're saying at first it was going to be white collar jobs because, you know, there weren't any robots out there to do the blue collar jobs. Elon Musk thinks that robots could overtake the human population within 15 years. And within 10 years, it's the economy is going to be completely shifted. And that's frightening. You think about it, how often do we hear about an auto driving Tesla getting in a bad accident? Maybe once a month. twice a month. It happens. And it's not necessarily a good thing, but it's not a bad thing either when you compare to how many times do humans cause accidents every month, every day. And you think we just heard on the news break how there's truck drivers all over America who shouldn't be here, and now they're gonna get these autonomous trucks that can drive more than 10 hours in a day, that don't have to take rest breaks, that only have to worry about fuel or charge. The the new economy, the next revolution, if you will, the industrial revolution, the computer revolution, whatever, the steam revolution, the AI revolution is coming, and the question is how do you position yourself, your family, your loved ones to take advantage of what's coming? And the answer is I'm not sure. But after listening to some of the podcasts that I listened to this weekend while I was working around the house, I'll tell you what, it's certainly frightening. You are listening to the Andrew Gosser Show on 103.9 WYAB. We'll be right back. And we are back here at the Andrew Gossip Show. We've got one last segment. I've got a few minutes. I want to finish up this extradition case from Tennessee to North Dakota. Lip said that her relocation to North Dakota was the first and last time she had been on the airplane. She added it was they call it the Peace Garden State, North Dakota. She said that she had to wait over 3 months, and she was terrified and exhausted and humiliated. And it took once they actually got into court after she spent 5 months in jail, once she got into court, it took the lawyers less than 5 minutes to exonerate her because she had receipts that she had recordings of her doing banking the same day that they accused her of bank fraud. And again, this is completely relying on AI. Lips was released on Christmas Eve, but was trapped between a rock and a hard place. She has a GoFundMe out there. And she's claiming now that in the 5 months she was incarcerated, Lips' reputation was tarnished, her rental home was gone, and all of her belongings were seized when her storage unit bill went unpaid. She claimed in the GoFundMe. This is the pull quote. Let me scroll all the way down to the bottom here. In the wake of Lips' whirlwind detainment, the department in North Dakota, the police department in North Dakota, immediately began measures to address the gaffe in its process in identifying other potential suspects in the fraud case. How about we realize that AI is a tool and not a companion? It's not necessarily evidence. I want to know if they actually compared pictures. And look, this lady, you can't say someone looks like a criminal or not looks like a criminal, but I pulled up her criminal record. I did a search for her name in crime, both in using Google and AI. No criminal record, no speeding tickets, no nothing. This is just mama at home. And then the Fargo Police Department also issued a statement: will no longer be sending or utilizing information from Wells Fargo's Clearview AI because it's their own system and we don't know how it's run or how it's overseen. Well, that's a little late now. I hope Grandma, what's her name? I'm just trying to find her name. Yep. They just say Lips. Angela Lips, age 50, home in Tennessee. So if you Google Angela Lips on GoFundMe, if you feel so inclined, I hope she sues the hell out of them. I really do. Because you've got able thinking human beings, investigators, private investigators, prosecutors, and judges all looking at this evidence and saying, yeah, well, does it look like it? Yep. And I mean, if this lady would have had any good legal representation back in Tennessee, they could have said, look, here's all the bank statements. Here's the pictures where she's actually in Tennessee the day that you're saying your AI system saying fraud. Can we clear this up? Yeah, that might have been the first clue, but it's not. I'll tell you what, one thing that's happening with this AI stuff is common sense and critical thinking skills are going completely out the window. Completely out the window, ladies and gentlemen. I saw it this weekend. Some young kids trying to make some decisions, and we all made some silly decisions when we were teenagers. Let's not kid ourselves. But you wonder where how Gen X made it through with our critical thinking skills. We used to ride bicycles without helmets. We used to have bottle rocket wars. We used to do all sorts of crazy stuff. Fire 'em up. It is hour number 2 of the Andrew Gosser Show right here on 1039 WYAB. And we're streaming on Rumble. And we're streaming on X. And we're streaming on YouTube. And we're streaming at the mothership, 103 or WYAB.com. So if you can't pick us up on the 50,000 watt blowtorch that is 1039, go ahead and like, share, and subscribe to the stream if you wouldn't mind. I'd appreciate it greatly. Number, if you want to be part of the program today, 601-879-0002. Text line is open, getting all sorts of great stuff. 601-879-5060. No matter what you text me on, the mission here at the Andrew Gosser Show is standard. We are here to equip the saints, especially during this Holy Week. And who are the saints? Y'all are the saints. Therefore, encourage one another and build one another up, just as you already are doing. And that's what we're trying to do. Build each other up. World might be trying to tear you down 6 ways to Sunday, but not this show. We're all about building people up, creating leaders. And I have to tell you, the coverage this weekend over Iran was absolutely breathtakingly tragic. If there was a space alien just tuning in for the first time to hear about the war, you would think the United States was getting its butt kicked. We are living in the midst of the worst journalism in the history of humanity. This makes the 1920s and 30s yellow journalism look like Pulitzer Prize winning stuff. The reporting is horrible. I mean, guys who I've served with are questioning our effectiveness in the war. And by every metric, we're achieving the objectives that we want to achieve. Do we have losses? Yes, that happens in war. Rest in peace, Balls 5. For those of you who don't know, that was the AWACS that was blown up by an Iranian suicide drone over the weekend. We'll bring another one out of the boneyard. Please, dear God, for everything that's holy and human, don't make it 0556. No, leave that one right where she needs to stay there. But you look at all the success and achievements that we're having. You don't hear it's because it's so routine. It's because it's so normal. Over the global war on terror, Gulf War I, Gulf War II, we got so effective and so efficient. We take all of our winning for granted. And when I think about me growing up as a kid and trying to explain it to my daughters and to my sons, Iran screaming death to America, we would see it on TV, but it wasn't pounded into us like it is with our anxiety devices. Even on some of the more conservative news feeds, they're like, are we winning or losing? And militarily speaking, we are crushing it. But when it comes to the actual strategy of using all the different available tools that are available to us, I think our enemy is crushing it. The enemy has sleeper cells in the United States of America, just waiting to go off at their moment of time and choosing. The enemy has weaponized a major political party inside America, has weaponized mental illness, which is Trump derangement syndrome, and has weaponized news reporting in the United States of America and the Western Hemisphere. Think about it this way. You look at countries like England, Germany, France, Spain, they would rather live under tyranny than fight. And it just so happens that America, we will fight for our liberty and freedom, and we'll drag people along with us even if they don't want it to. I there's a party in Germany called the ADF, and I don't know what it stands for, but they're more of a right-leaning group, and they're arguably one of the most powerful political parties now in Germany. They're asking the United States to leave Germany, to which I say, "Yes, thank you. Take control of your own country. You've got a lot to clean up." And they know they do. And if you go look at a political map of Germany, you will see divided very clearly between East and West Germany. And there are many people in this listening audience who do not remember the difference between East and West Germany. They were born after the two Germanys merged together and just became Germany. Well, they've about had enough of them losing their culture, just like Denmark is. Did you hear about what Denmark said? They banned the burqa. If they banned the burqa in Denmark, how come we can't ban burqa here in the United States of America? They're literally telling Muslim clerics, sheikhs, imams that, "Look, you either change your ways or you go back to the country that you came from because your religion is not compatible with that of Denmark." Does this get reported in the United States news media? No, it doesn't. I have to go out and search out different news sources outside of the United States of America because we live in the bubble. The United States is the economic engine of the world. We make the world go round. And there are some very powerful people in this world who will carefully curate and manipulate the news narrative to make sure it fits their agenda and not the agenda of liberty and freedom. You have people, neighbors, arguing with each other whether or not illegal aliens should be in the United States. And you will have these same people say they'd rather have an illegal alien driving a truck than an AI robot driving a truck. We live in very strange times. Andy, you just said that you didn't like the facial recognition of AI. Yep, that's not the driving of the truck. And you know that the mainstream media is just waiting for the next bad thing to happen when it comes to the Iranian war. And you've got people. I got sent this one. I've got this one texter. He's just got so much blind TDS, and he hates Israel. And I get it. That's his opinion. He's entitled to it. But he sends me these pictures that were taken 10 years ago. You can just run the pictures through AI, and it's like, yep, these are not the same pictures. Saying that 50 Delta Force and Navy SEAL members and Marine Recon members got captured by Iran. And he's sitting there gloating at me, like happy that this has happened. What's wrong with that American? I don't know any me personally, I don't know any American who wants to see another American killed or captured in combat. I know that we will be sent into harm's way because that's what we signed up to do. That's what our core values are instilled upon us. Again, it's like everybody wants to be a lion until it's time to do lion things. Then all of a sudden, when it's go time, it's like, "Oh, I'm not so sure about this." The worst thing about this whole mess that's going on in the Middle East right now, it's gonna hurt America more in the food line than it is the gas line because we get all of our gas from ourselves and from countries like Venezuela. We don't get too much from the Middle East. It's hurting people like Germany, like Spain, like France, like England, who are all whining and moaning about the war as their country gets overrun. Their culture gets swept away into the history books. They don't wanna fight. It's like they're repeating the same mistake that they had in World War II. This weekend as I was doing show prep, because every day is show prep. You never know when something's gonna happen in front of you and "Oh, I can take that and bring that into the show." But they were looking. England is now wondering why they don't have enough warships to actually go out and do their own maneuvers. They actually have more admirals in the English Navy, excuse me. They have more admirals in the English Navy than they have ships and submarines. You wanna talk about a top-heavy organization, they could fire 3/4 of those admirals right away, promote some young blood, and get their shipbuilding back on track. Their nuclear submarines, their boomers, are in bad shape, and they want to sit a seat at the table when it comes to making big boy and big girl decisions. They wanna considered be a big boy military. Let me tell you something about the English military right now, and it's all big boy, no big girl, but their special air service, special boat service, that's top notch. You will not find a better tier 1 operating group than that. But everything else is just absolutely crumbling and falling apart. Their ships are stuck in dry dock. They can't make deployments when they're gonna deploy. They've got 2 aircraft carriers, but one of them doesn't even work. When their allies ask for help, they can't provide it, but when they're getting hosed over, the first ones come screaming. They'll make the haughtiest of speeches in front of the world stage, whether it be at the United Nations or at Davos or G7, but then they'll always come back groveling to America, "Oh, will you please help?" And meanwhile, we're just sitting here saying, "We just wanna enjoy our lives, leave us alone." You know, because of the values instilled in us from our founding fathers through the Civil War, through World War I, World War II, Korea, Vietnam, Gulf War, we've learned that we have to have a very good army that is ready to rock and roll at any time. When I say army, I mean military. Meantime, you look at what's happening in China. Their super 5th generation fighter, the J-20, is not so hot anymore, and the actual chief designer was found shot and killed. All sorts of Chinese generals are showing up missing or being fired because the Chinese stuff doesn't work like they said it would. The same guy who told me that these 50 Delta SEALs were captured or whatever sent me a picture of Iranian propaganda of the US Abraham Lincoln being shot by Iran. Do you know that they actually shot 50 plus Chinese supersonic Mach 3 missiles at the USS Abraham Lincoln? Not one of them came close. They either all failed or were shot down by the carrier strike group combatant ships. I'll just leave it at that. They went astray. Do you know what Xi Jinping is thinking right now? He's like, "Our military sucks." And President Trump is letting the world see, "Hey, we've got stuff that we haven't even broke out yet and we're cleaning the clock with your proxy." Because just like Iran was the proxy for Islamic Jihad, Hezbollah, and Hamas, and others, the Houthis, Iran got a lot of its money and a lot of its technology from China and Russia. And they're both looking at each other like, "Hey, we got a problem here because our stuff isn't working and America's is." And I can promise you this, without having any real knowledge of what that technology might be, But we've got things stored around the United States that we have no idea is even existing. If we really go to a bad place, those things will be broken out. Does it suck that we lost an AWACS? Yep. Does it suck that we've lost a tanker to a in-air collision? Yep. Does it suck that a rogue Kuwaiti FA-18 pilot shot down 3 F-15E Strike Eagles? Yep. But we don't talk about all the Iranian women, the Persian women, who are longing for freedom, who are having their voices suppressed, not by the Islamic regime, but by ABC. And I'll tell you what I mean when we get back. You are listening to the Andrew Gosser Show on 103.9 WYAB. We'll be right back. And we are back here at the Andrew Gosser Show on 103.9 WYAB. The media is not reporting on the rise of the Persian people. And I've got some audio of this. This is 29-second clip of Persian people from Iran saying that they're Persian and not Muslim. Very different outtake than what the news media wants you to believe.
I'm Persian. I'm not Muslim. I'm Persian. I'm Persian.
I'm Persian.
I'm not Muslim.
I'm not Muslim.
I'm Persian.
I'm not Muslim. I'm Persian.
I'm Persian. I'm not Muslim.
I'm Persian. I'm not Muslim.
I am not Muslim. I'm Persian.
I'm Persian. I'm not Muslim.
I'm Persian. I'm not Muslim.
I'm not Muslim.
I'm Persian.
We are Persian. I'm Persian. I'm Persian. I'm not Muslim. I'm not Muslim. I'm not Muslim. I'm Persian. I'm not Muslim.
And sorry for the music, but that really got me because there are so many people out there who sit there and look at the color of someone's skin and the way that their eyes are set on their body and the beard that they have, and they're like, oh, that's a Muslim. No. Oh, that person's Jewish. That person's Spanish. I'm telling you what, you sit there and you got to look at these people and realize the pain and hell they've gone through for the last 47 years. And they are screaming. They are fighting like hell for their freedom. But does ABC put it on their lead story? Nope. Does CBS? Nope. NBC? Nope. CNN? Nope. MS Now / BS Always? Nope. Fox News? Nope. What do they go with? The No Kangs. I've got a picture. I'm posting it right now. There it is. It's in England with almost 1 million protesters in the streets of London protesting No Kings. England, you're a freaking monarchy. It's ridiculous. Meanwhile, President Trump, who won an election legally, I might add, not stolen like 2020, is just doing what he was elected to do. And there's a political persuasion. I'm not even going to call it an American. I'm going to just call it a psychotic left, because there are good Democrats out there. I am friends with some of them. I've got friends who are very liberal, but they get it. They're not falling for this TDS stuff. And you can be against the president and not have TDS when you can logically think out ideas. And I have some, I'm not even going to mention their names because they probably don't want their airtime, but Brother Josh, if you're out there listening, I get you and I feel you, and I'm grateful and thankful that we have that respect together. But there's this TDS that's taken over, and it's incurable. It's just, it sends people to, they're like programmed. They're literally programmed like a computer. If TDS, go to, if then, go sub, no return. For those of us who learned how to program back in the day, but now AI can outprogram a lot of what humans are doing. But don't tell Amazon that. Amazon fired all their mid and low-level coders and then tried to plug in their AI, and it sucked. There's this picture that's floating around. I retweeted that too. And it's a line of Iranians in Washington, D.C., at least a mile long in front of the White House, thanking President Trump for his actions. And in that sea of Iranian flags, which is the Iranian flag with the lion, not the swords, you've got American flags. I see Israeli flags in there. Everybody getting along. Heck, there's even a Ukraine flag. It's not that the other side is a majority. It's that the other side has mastered the manipulation of the propaganda, or as my kids would say when they were little, "Papaganza." And what really sucks is that not everybody gets to go through SEER training and are taught how to recognize propaganda when you see it and how not to be used as propaganda. But I'll tell you what, CBS and ABC, NBC, CNN, MS Now / BS Always, they've got it down. They know how to generate propaganda better than the Iranians do. You sit there and listen to the Iranians, and they put out these horrible AI images. I saw one, someone said, "Oh, they shot down an F-18," and you look at the tail of the F-18, and it's written in some weird computer script. I'm like, it doesn't take you 2 seconds to realize this. But you'll still get that sent to you, and not everybody's gonna recognize it. I'm gonna play this. I listened to it once, and I didn't hear any curse words. I'll have my finger on the dump button, okay, but this is in England, and this is a Persian woman, an Iranian, who is confronting a white lib woman who is saying support the Islamic Republic of Iran.
She's right. Iranians are asking for the bombs. Oh, no, they are. I'm a journalist. I'm in contact with Iranian youth who are asking to be bombed. And you are standing here supporting a terrorist regime. What are you doing supporting a terrorist regime? Why are you supporting a terrorist regime? I understand bombing is bad. Convince me of what? Of rape? Of women not having no rights? I'm Iranian. I've been imprisoned by that regime. This has got nothing to do with Palestine. This is about a terrorist regime in my country.
And this English woman is sitting there looking absolutely flabbergasted that she's even been confronted. Does this make the evening news? Does this even hit the top 15 big Twitter accounts or Facebook accounts? It doesn't. It gets subsided. Now, the only reason I got it is because we had a techniques, tactics, and procedure Tuesday where I told y'all to set up a news feed list. It's kind of like an RSS feed, but on X. And I'm not saying that everything that Eric Doherty puts out there is gospel. I double check it. But there are people out there who are doing their level best to try to get the truth out there when it comes to what's happening in Iran, the real story of what's happening with the war. I've got people messaging me who have never spent a day in the U.S. Navy telling me how a U.S. aircraft carrier works. Dude, I've got over 2.5 years of sea time just on one carrier alone. I know what the hell I'm talking about, and I'm telling you, you don't. And just the things that are being put out about the USS Gerald R. Ford, I'm not saying it doesn't have problems. It does. But the propaganda that's being used to infect Americans with distrust of their Navy and their military is absolutely disgusting and appalling. And as long as I have the airwave here, I'm not going to allow that to happen on my show. You are tuned into the Andrew Gosser Show on 103.9 WYAB. We'll be right back. And we are back here at the Andrew Gosser Show. You know, we've got great talent on the radio, and this just came in. It's interesting. The people who are mad at Trump for getting us into the conflict with Iran, claiming he said no more endless wars and that he's a liar because of that, are the Democrats that said illegals weren't getting government benefits. The same fair weather MAGA folks have no problems with that, but they're ready to abandon Trump and MAGA for the Democrats. Make it make sense. Who said that? If you guessed the radio strongman Kim Wade, you would be right. And he's on today, Monday through Friday, from 4 to 6 p.m. right here on 103.9 WYAB. Man, I tell you what, I'm grateful and thankful for Kim giving me the mentorship that he did. Is it all about them, or were they ever really with us at all? I don't know. But I also got another text, and I really want to get to this. Coming in from Brother Rick. I know you're on the radio at the moment, so I'm not expecting your response. Do you think that these ground troops being geared up are a pawn sacrifice, meaning the powers at be know that they will be overwhelmed and need a larger response? I can only speak for me. I was a company grade officer, but I got to work with generals and deal with war plans and everything. And never once have I ever heard of sacrificing U.S. troops for something bigger. I don't believe that's in Trump's mannerisms. I don't think that's in General Kane's mannerisms. I don't believe it's in Secretary of War Pete Hegseth's mannerisms to do something like that. Let me explain to everybody what's really happening right now. Not in the world, not with the war, but with humanity. We are trying to reconcile our Judeo-Christian values against a war. And we come up with these things like the laws of armed conflict, the Geneva Conventions, rules of engagement. And we're finding out that if you don't have the same values that we have, those things really don't work. Russia didn't want to get nuked to oblivion. So you know what? They didn't bomb us and we didn't bomb them. The same can't be said for Iran. Well, Iran never attacked us. Yeah, but their proxies did. They equipped terrorists to come in and do bodily harm, infrastructure harm. They completely changed our way of life since 2001, and it's like we don't even pay attention to it. The only thing that in a conflict like that, they want their 72 virgins. They genuinely believe that. And I'm not going to sit here and spend 2 hours of a radio program going over the difference between Shia Islam and Sunni Islam. But you could go ahead and look it up, and you'll see that it's very different. There's a reason that there's so many other Islamic countries that don't act anything like Iran: Saudi Arabia, Oman, Bahrain, United Arab Emirates, Kuwait, Iraq even acts differently. No one likes the Iranians. The Pakistanis don't like the Iranians. Only the Houthis, the Syrians, don't care for them. Lebanon kicked out the Iranians. Can you not see? No, because all we see is get this garbage regurgitated on the CBS News about how there's doubt, fear, and uncertainty. Oh, better watch out. It's like they want you afraid. The fear, it means advertising dollars for them. It means clicks for them. It means they have you under their control because you're under the spell of fear. And I'm just not having any of it, Brother Rick. I do not believe that we would do something like that to our troops. That's not to say that we won't be put into harm's way, that we won't be put into dangerous situations. And, at some point, and this was like a theory that I had, wars fought at the lowest level ultimately. At some point, you're gonna get to scrapping, and when you get to that point and you finally had enough, someone's gonna win. But, Andy, that's not very diplomatic. Nope, it's not, because war is when diplomacy fails. And you can't have diplomacy when they sit at table 1 minute and then at the next minute they're at a rally screaming death to America. Now, I know that's hard for some liberal professors at these universities who are teaching our kids to understand. But hey, that's the reality. It's like kids who spend all this money going to college and they have a degree in underwater basket weaving. And then the kid who goes out and becomes a plumber and ends up having a great career and a great life, great family, works hard, gets his hands dirty, gets covered in crap, but lives an honest living. And meanwhile, the underwater basket weaver is a barista at a Starbucks in Seattle. What really breaks my heart about this, and this is not geared towards any one of them, but I any of my friends who text with me and might disagree with me politically or on the military issue, I can genuinely understand like having a different opinion on it. But as soon as I sense and detect propaganda and fear, it's like the hair on the back of my neck stands up. I'm like, whoa, 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 whoa. It's it makes me a little bit sad. Just got this sent to me. The liberals over at Mississippi Politics are up in arms. Dustin Coates is again crying, whining, and complaining. An AH-64 Apache helicopter does a flyby of Kid Rock's home in Nashville. How cool is that? I have helicopters fly over the BA farm every time, usually CH-47 Chinooks. Although sometimes there are Black Hawks. I've never seen a Apache or a Cobra. That'd be cool. But now the liberals are saying it's a waste of taxpayer dollars. Kid Rock's done more for military morale than these crying, whining liberals. I don't know where Kid Rock lives, but I can neither confirm nor deny that an F-14 may have taken a little bit of a different route into Naval Air Station Oceana so they could do a flyby of their house. And you know what? It's good. Builds morale. It wasn't a direct flying. It didn't have the normal approach. It's okay. It's a Saturday. It's his kid's birthday. It's gonna be all right. We do all sorts of flybys. We do all sorts of stuff. It's great training. The one thing I got a complaint with this video, we got to work on Kid Rock's salute. Veterans, active duty folks, you know how the salute is supposed to be. I'm not talking about the Marine Corps flapjack. I'm talking about straight up to the bill of the cap or to the brow of the glasses and down. He had it kind of like the old timer arthritic salute, which if that's where you're at in life, we don't critique those salutes. Those men have earned it. But I always, I get saluted sometimes and I'll pop one back. And I always told myself, as long as I can snap a salute off the right way, I'm going to do it. I know at some point my fingers aren't going to quite straighten out. They're not going to quite work like they used to, but that's all right. Good on the military or the Army for giving Kid Rock a flyby. Good job on ticking off all the libs. You are listening to the Andrew Gossett Show on 103.9 WYAB. We'll be right back.
Would you like J.D. Vance to be the president
No,
then?
I would not.
Okay.
Yeah, I would not.
Okay.
Yeah.
Who would you like to be the president?
Kamala Harris right now, but she didn't win. But
Can I point out something that we say no kings and no authoritarianism, but Kamala Harris, no one voted for her.
yes, they did. Half the country voted for her. So let's not go there.
No one was voted for her to be the nominee.
Yes, they did.
Isn't that what like authoritarian?
You're going down the wrong road right now with me. I wouldn't go any further.
What does that mean?
I'm not going to talk to you anymore. That's what it means.
I just think it's ironic
I
that
don't care if
no
it's
one
ironic or not.
voted
They
for her to be
did.
the nominee. They just
Okay.
selected her like
Okay,
a
thank you.
king gets
Appreciate your
selected,
opinion,
right?
But keep it to yourself. Okay. Bye. Have a good day. See ya.
All
Take
right.
care.
Eva, what's your other sign say?
Oh, you don't need to see it.
Okay.
None of your business.
All right. Out of office.
And we are back here on the Andrew Gosser Show. All sorts of stuff I didn't get to. There was a great video of No Kings protester, Orange Man Bad, face painted up, and had the crown on, looking great, and was asked a simple question. You know, Kamala Harris wasn't elected to be the nominee of the Democrats. She was selected. Not one super delegate vote, not one regular delegate vote voted for Kamala. Nope, it was all for Joe Biden. All for sleepy Joe Biden. And when he was asked that question, it was like his brain shorted out. His programming didn't know what to do. The TDS went into a lockdown. Also circulating right now on X, which I find kind of interesting, is Section 2, Article 3 of the Constitution apparently allows the President of the United States to call a special session of Congress, or including the Senate, for extraordinary circumstances. And I genuinely think the war and the Save America Act are extraordinary circumstances. It sure would be a shame if President Trump recalled all those senators sitting at home fundraising right now to go back into DC and do their job. That would be great, wouldn't it? Wouldn't you like to see a president do that? Actually use the Constitution against the legislative body that is neglecting its duties and responsibilities, in my opinion? I believe the judiciary is broken. You saw that there's a story circulating around right now about a couple that went and found a pedophile and killed him. And they both got consecutive life sentences. And they were smiling at each other in court, saying that's what you get to the pedophile's family. We do not want that here in the United States of America. We don't want people to take law into their own hands. But when you see judges doing the things that they're doing, like in Nebraska, where that one pedophile got 25 years and the other one got 3 years probation, still haven't heard anything back from him other than the quote, "I am the law." His best Sylvester Stallone. We are in strange times, ladies and gentlemen. Whether it be our judiciary, our congressional, our legislative branch, our judicial branch, our executive branch, they're all fighting with each other, which is somewhat what the founding fathers wanted, but they always thought we'd have the same moral standing. Our morals would be coming from the same place, and clearly they're not. And I find it very interesting that in this Holy Week, we're having the same type of problems that we are. It's going to be a great day today at the BA farm. We've got another 120 chicks hatching out here shortly. It's going to be a great day for me. It's going to be a great day for the sweet bee. And you know what? We're going to enjoy life and touch grass. And I think that's something that we need to talk about. And man, I had this story, and I'm going to talk about it tomorrow. But they said people who have TDS are terminally online. But they're not talking about the Democrats. They're talking about the Republicans, the Ben Shapiros, the Candace Owens. They're constantly looking for that next hit, that next spike of dopamine. And look, not me. I'm unplugging. I'm reading a book. I'm petting a lamb. We'll see you in about 48 hours. Take care, or 24 hours. Take care, everybody.